Go.
Okay, fresh milled flour, sourdough bread. This does not have to be complicated. The point is nutrient dense, right? Do some research. They have destroyed all of our food. We've all been malnutritioned, and it's real. I fell down this rabbit hole because my daughter got cancer when she was 11. She's 32 years old now, 31. How old is she? She's doing good. But the point is, I started learning about nutrition, and I was like, this is BS that I live in agriculture and we don't get nutrition, right? And so wheat, we live in a wheat state, and they sift the flour and the bran off. All you get is the empty calories and no nutrition, and they feed the nutrition to the pigs. So you can go over to Wheat, Montana. You can buy these wheat berries, right? Do you see that? So what I do is I start my grinder, and then I just fill it up with, that's how loud it is, makes a bunch of noise. I grind some flour. This is 1,000 grams of flour. So then, here, I got a recipe. I tape a recipe inside of my door. I'll add a picture to that to the comments. So that recipe came from a sourdough expert. Her name was Sarah Frank. Great videos. I learned from her, but it was more complicated than I wanted to do because I'm a dude and I'm busy. I'm a contractor. I got kids and dogs and horses and cows and chickens and friggin' a beautiful wife that is videoing. Then I want to do other stuff, so I can't screw around all the time. So I condensed this, and here's one of the things that I did to condense it was these loaf pans. So I put the water and the starter and the salt in a mixer, and I go like this. I do that while I'm getting ready. That aerates the dough. Excuse me. It adds oxygen to the starter, and it helps your starter get a little more active. And then after I've done that, then I just weigh this thing out, and I put 1,000 grams of flour in this water. It's 680 grams of water, 120 grams of starter, 20 grams of salt. I'll mix that dough up, and then we'll cut to the other part of the video, and I'll show you I put it in these loaf pans. This is so awesome. I let it rise in the loaf pan, and it rises until it fills the other loaf pan. When I see it lift the other loaf pan up, I know I'm ready to bake. I bake that little bread, and it is fantastic. Soft, delicious, amazing. I also like to take a bunch of butter and coat the outside of the loaf when it comes out of the oven when it's hot. I coat this whole thing in butter. That makes like a fat seal on this loaf. And then I have a rocket scientist live-in woodworker make me the perfect bread box. And I put several loaves inside of my little bread box. There you go. Okay. I was shooting for a 3-minute video. I believe I just went over 3 minutes, but we're going to edit this and maybe it'll be 5 minutes. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't do a lot of stretch and fold or messing around, and I haven't found it to be necessary to get the texture that I'm looking for.
How long was it in the mixer, would you say?
That was probably 3 minutes or 2 or 3 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just long enough to get it to look like this, where it's pretty cohesive. See how it wants to stick together? And I started experimenting with this because I'm not going to set a timer and go do some stretch and folds. I have other things to do. And I was like, I just want to make this edible. Well, what I've done is I've made it amazing and a lot less work. And so I like these little loaves because these little loaves make the best little grilled cheeses, the best egg sandwiches, the best toast. And then you're not eating as much. Those huge artisan loaves, or whatever you call those ones that everybody wants in a Dutch oven, the bread doesn't fit in a toaster, doesn't make a good sandwich, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't get too picky about it, but I try and build some surface tension because I think that helps the rise. And you can see the kind of the consistency of my dough. And that is it. And then this is gonna go on top of that. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna put it in the oven. My 1,000 gram recipe will do 4 of those. I'm gonna turn the light on in the oven. That will make my oven about 100 degrees with the light on. And that means it's gonna take me about 4 hours to get the kind of rise that I was talking about earlier, as I demonstrated with that loaf. Boom, that's what's gonna happen. It's about 4 hours. So after I see this other pan lift, then I turn the oven on 425 for 45 minutes. I take this top lid off, the last 15 minutes, I throw it out here, cover it in butter. Boom, I just made 4 loaves of bread. And really the actual time besides cleaning up, or actually with cleaning up, the actual time of doing all this is like 15 minutes if I'm being efficient, or 25 or 30 if the kitchen's a mess already.